Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of As Above, So Below here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm very happy to be here with my Gemini sister, Ashala Yardley. How's it going, Ashala?
Really great, Meg. I'm happy to be here as well. Post birthday, I had a lovely time, a great
Yay!
visit with Janine, and yeah, settling back in and getting back into the swing of things. I just noticed something, Meg. You and I are both wearing pink sweaters. It's so
Oh,
cute.
yay! We both got That's really cute. We're like the pink ladies from Greece. Love it. Well, happy belated birthday. Did you have a nice birthday?
I did. I really did.
Yay.
Yeah, it was a lovely day. And I'm intrigued to see you mentioned you were going to send me something about my solar
Yes.
return, and that I was so
Yeah.
surprised to hear that you actually calculate the solar return sort of cast for the year according to where
Yeah.
you are
Yes.
on your birthday. Tell me a little bit about that. What is that? How does that work?
That's right. Yeah, it's so cool. So, depending on where we're physically located on our birthday, well, first of all, solar return is an astrological term for when the sun returns every year around our birthday to the same sign, degree, and minute as when we were born. So, like I'm a 7-degree Scorpio sun. I can't remember off the top of my head what your degree or minute of your sun was when you're born in Gemini, Shala, but it's either the solar return on your birthday or the day before or after. And a chart gets casted at every birthday when the sun returns to the same sign, degree, and minute and gives an extra layer of influence on that birthday year. So we've got like our current transits, we've got progressions, and we've got the solar return. So I'm very excited to send that to you. I'll do that
Thank
after the
you.
show today. And
Thank
it
you.
does change depending on where you're physically located.
Wow, that is so
So,
cool. It's like,
you
be
know, I'm a
careful where
little
you
bit
go on your birthday.
be careful. Yeah, I've even been looking at my upcoming solar return and I'm like, okay, definitely don't want to be there or there or there because you can kind of create what kind of solar return chart you want to have. And funny enough, one of my best friends, her recent birthday, I won't say her name for privacy reasons, but she had a really wonky solar return chart if she were to stay where she was living. And I said, we have to do an emergency solar return trip. We need to be physically somewhere else. So we physically went somewhere else for her birthday. So yeah,
Wow,
it's
that is like astrocartography to another level.
yeah,
I
to
mean,
a
I
whole
love
nother level.
that.
Yeah, yeah, so cool. So you're lucky you've got some really good aspects in your solar return. So if there's good aspects at your birthday, there's going to be good aspects at your solar return.
Awesome. Thanks, Meg.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And wow, I forgot to bring up the poster. Sorry, you guys. I told Ashala before going live, I'm having a little bit of a headache this evening. That's why I've got my crazy blue light glasses on because I've been on the screen a lot today. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. Hello, Red Pill Rooster in the chat. And also, you can check out Ashala and I's readings over at consultations.beyondmystic.net. And you just said, Ashala, before we went live, that you're taking a little bit of a break. Well, you had a little break this past week for your birthday from
I
doing
did. I
readings.
did. I'm back on full tilt starting tomorrow. Booked up for the rest of this week. I think there's some openings
Awesome.
next week, though. So, yeah.
Amazing. Fantastic. So if you'd like a psychic, oh my God, did you guys hear that noise? Sorry, we've got really crazy wind here in Belgium. So if you ever hear some weird sounds behind me, it's the wind. If you'd like to have a psychic tarot reading, I said it correctly, with Ashala, you can go check that out at the link below. And also over at ascensionorgonites.com, Carla has currently this Father's Day giveaway sale happening, valid until June 15th. You can use code Father's Day, all in one word, to get 25% off. So, Ashala, how you just had your birthday, your solar return. How do you feel around your birthday? How are birthdays typically a similar energy for you? Do you notice themes? What is that time of the year like
Hmm.
for you?
Well, I do notice in myself and my friends that coming up, leading up to birthday, it seems as though everything is ramped up. Everything is heightened. And I always care about people. Like I notice we tend to try to do a lot on our birthday. It's interesting in this modern time, it becomes almost like we're caretaking everyone else because everybody's sending us messages. We have to answer all these texts and go on Facebook and answer all these things. And it's like, wow, this week is a lot of work. Our birthdays are getting to be more and more work. So I just
Yeah.
really like to say to people, like, what can I do to just help you relax? And because I feel like there's a lot of integration that happens in that week or 2 weeks around our
Mhm.
birthday time. And
Mhm.
I've learned over the years to not overdo it, to just go real easy on myself and plan things that aren't for everyone else's benefit.
Yeah. For sure. I love that. And I feel like our birthdays, or in astrology, we say solar returns, are very, very sacred times because, different astrologers operate differently. But for me, the sun placement is the most important placement in the astrology chart in terms of kind of the character of who you are. We've also got our North Node position, which is our purpose and destiny in life. I won't go too into that, but to me, I really resonate with, I'm a Scorpio sun, moon in Capricorn, Taurus rising, but when it comes down to it, I'm a Scorpio all the way. Does that resonate with you, Ashala? Like, is there a sign in your sun, moon rising that you resonate the most with?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a Gemini all the way.
Yeah.
Like I'm a Gemini sun with an Aries moon and a Libra rising. I relate to all of them, but Gemini for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We should make shirts that say Gemini all the way, Scorpio. That would be like a good shirt.
It would be.
So, yeah, I feel like the birthday, the solar return, the sun, the life force giver,
Mhm.
right? Coming back to the exact same position as we're born is a really sacred time. And whenever I have my solar return, I feel a very magical energy and also a very reflective energy as well.
Mhm.
And I think it's really important for us to not overbook ourselves. And like you said, Ashala, make it for us. And it's not about other people. It's about the sun. It's about us,
Yeah, exactly.
right? But we're programmed to like in Western society, do it in a way where it's for other people in a way,
Mhm.
in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. Right. So
Yeah.
very interesting. Gemma says Pisces March all the way, Aries moon to Ashala. Love that mix. So cool. So, yeah, there's a lot happening every single day, and a lot has happened since the last time we spoke. Is there anything in the past week that's really stood out to you since the last time we spoke in
Mhm.
terms of just overall energies you're feeling or kind of like Gemini news stories coming out?
Well, as I mentioned in my forecast, it does feel like with all this Gemini comes a lot of self-awareness, or what I want to call like epiphanies. Like if you think of the Gemini season, the Gemini energy as solving puzzles and riddles, and it's
Mhm.
like all of a sudden you can see things that you couldn't see before. Like, where you just go, whoa, that was there all along, but now enough of the pieces lined up where I really, really get it. I've
Yeah.
even heard people say, I knew it, but I didn't really get it. This
Mm,
season and this month and this Gemini season, I think there's a lot of those mini revelations, and they may have us, according to my forecast for this week, they might have us feeling a little bit off in the sense that we're like, oh wow, I didn't realize how steeped I am, or I didn't realize that my family system is really this, or I didn't realize that I'm still acting like kind of part of the system, and
right.
talking to myself, treating myself. Like a great example for me is I'm doing a lot of work right now on changing the way I am as a boss, because I'm a contractor and I
Mhm.
run my own business.
Right.
And I realized, wow, I was actually talking to an old friend of mine that I haven't talked with in a while, and she was one of my dearest, closest friends. And she said, "So what's it like? Like, how does it feel to be, like in charge of your life?" And I said, "Honestly, I'm the worst boss I've ever had. It sucks." I'm like, So it's kind of like, okay, you got that finished? Well, good thing because I got 3 more things waiting for you. It's like,
Yeah.
no time off, no acknowledgement of task well done. It's just like pile more on, unrealistic expectation. It's like,
Oh my
so that for me was one of those epiphanies where I was like, "Oh, whoa." Like I got it
Mhm.
and it made me feel really weird. I was
Mhm.
like, "Whoa, I am still inside the machine." Like, I'm
Wow.
trying so hard to be aware of that and to clear and to but I was like, "Wow, they still I'm still acting like that to myself."
Mm.
So those kinds of revelations where we go, "Oh, whoa," and that was a big piece that came up in the
Mhm.
forecast, that during this Gemini season, we could have those self-awareness epiphanies.
I love that, and I love your weekly psychic tarot show. I just, right before I went live, finished watching your one from last Saturday, and lots of cool tidbits in there that you were getting. You were sharing before we went live that you got lots of wands cards for the week ahead. Very
Yes,
interesting.
that to me, I mean, I don't know what you make of that and how that might relate to the astrology because the wands are the element of fire, so the fire
Mhm.
signs, solar energy, and it felt like, wow, just a lot of this, everything kind of heating up. And
Mhm.
it wasn't like the big hitters, it wasn't like the tower and the devil and all of that, but it was definitely like that's a lot of energy coming at us. It's a lot of
Yeah.
heat. The heat is on.
The heat
Um,
is on.
yeah, so how does that relate to the astrology, Meg?
Oh my god, it totally relates to the astrology because the heat is on. We've got 4 planets in Aries with Venus conjunct Chiron this week and Saturn 0 degrees of Aries since May 24th. Amore says, "Laugh my ass off." Yeah, the tarot always aligns with the astrology. It's so, so interesting. And for me personally, I just gotta say that I've been going through this past week kind of the integration of I was born with my Saturn in Aquarius. So from 2020 to 2023, I went through my first Saturn return, which was very difficult. I've talked about that on, previous shows and workshops before, so I won't get too into it. But I've had this realization that it took me a whole other Saturn cycle, which was Saturn in Pisces, what we just came out of, to integrate the Saturn return and how powerful Saturn is and how big of an influence that is. Saturn rules the matrix. Saturn rules the machine. So that's so interesting what you just said, Ashal. It made me think about what I've been integrating with my Saturn return and the healing journey around that. It's that matrix, right? Saturn is the part of us that can be stuck in the matrix, right? And it's also where we can overwork. It's also our sense of responsibility and purpose. So we've just come out of this Saturn and Pisces where things are very dreamy, very not grounded, very illusory, right? Is Joe Biden real? Is he not real? And then Saturn goes into Aries and Trump tweets this. Did you
Yeah.
see this truth
Oh,
or truth
well,
social post?
I don't know if it's actually showing up for you on your screen, Meg. I can't see the screen share on my
Oh,
side.
really?
Should I see if I
Oh,
can
no.
try and do it on
Can
my
you,
end? Yeah, let me
let me
just
try that
see.
again?
Try it again.
Okay, 1
Uh,
sec. Can you see it
okay.
now?
No.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we're
god. Can
having,
you guys
sorry, folks, we're having a little bit of issues here.
the fairies are playing with us. CeeLo Joe
They are.
says, "I can see." Christine
Oh,
says,
okay.
"We see it."
Great.
Why can't
That's
you
good.
see?
I
That's
don't
so
see
weird.
it. Well, don't worry about it.
Oh my oh my goodness. I was having technical issues with Janine earlier. I couldn't bring up the freaking card view, and now
Okay,
you
we
can't
see it.
see
This
the
is
shit.
great. That's fine.
Okay, okay, well, what it is, this is very Piscean. Let me tell you about what you can't see, but it's there. Isn't that funny? That's like so Piscean. And Pisces rules the screens. Okay, yeah, people in the comments say we can see it. So did you happen to see this Truth Social post yet?
I did not.
Or-
I can't see it
Oh
now, and
my
I didn't
gosh,
see it
you
earlier.
should see it. Oh, geez, Louise.
It's
Okay.
fine. Just tell me.
Okay, so President Trump posted on his Truth Social on May 31st. Okay,
Mm,
Shawl, I wish you could see this. Okay, it literally says, there is no Joe Biden. Executed in 2020. Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see. Democrats don't know the difference.
whoa.
So he reposted that from someone called Ilja or something, but he actually posted that.
Wow.
I
Wow.
thought,
Wow.
okay, I didn't know you didn't know about that. Isn't that
No.
crazy?
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing.
So it's like we're coming full throttle
Mhm,
into with Saturn and Aries now and all this Aries and Uranus going into Gemini next month. It's all coming out. There's no more lies. There's
mhm,
no more secrets. There's
mhm.
no more, is he a clone? Is he not a clone? The truths are coming out and it's intense.
It is. And so how this is gonna seep out into mainstream media, we'll see how this, like,
Right.
expands out. Um, and then what do people do with this information, right? Like I was saying,
Mhm.
even for us who are so aware and awake and have known this for a really long time, it's like we can still see how we are acting
Yeah.
in the system. So it'll be very interesting for the people who are fully asleep and suddenly get
Mhm.
wind of something like that.
Yeah, and for me personally as an astrologer, I don't know about you guys, but and I am a Scorpio with the Taurus rising, so I can be very fixed and very stubborn in my beliefs. But I've known with Neptune being in Pisces from 2013 to 2024, like to take everything with a grain of salt. Okay. Like I've been like, okay, kind of like the hanged man tarot card. Okay, is there a behind the scenes military operation? Isn't there? I've been kind of like, okay, I'm not going to take anything on as a full belief until we do start to get Neptune out of Pisces. I knew Saturn and Aries were going to start to see these truths being revealed. And I mean, Trump posting something like that, it doesn't get much more out in the open than
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
other than if we actually saw the clone and ripped his face off and saw the mask, right?
Yeah,
Which most of us probably won't do that. But it's like these things actually coming forward of, no, this is what's been going on,
yeah, yeah,
right?
definitely, definitely. Well, and it's one of those things where, it opens up the peripheral vision for everybody
Mhm.
because it's like if that's true, then this and this and this and this and this, like
Right.
it just goes like domino effect, right? I
Mhm.
think some of us might forget what that felt like because we've been awake for a while, but for people, when they start to acknowledge and really let something sink in, it's going to be an existential crisis on some level.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Would you maybe wanna pull some cards, Ashala? And I know Janine pulled on this yesterday. I forget what she got exactly. But, what is the purpose of Trump putting this out at this moment?
Mhm.
Or what can you feel from this?
Mhm.
Because we know everything happens for a reason, right? Why
Absolutely.
now?
Yeah, why now? I mean, it certainly gets us asking a lot of questions, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So let's just see what the timing is about, what the purpose is. Okay, Two of Wands, recent past. So getting a larger overview of things, getting a bird's eye view. Um,
Mhm.
and also, I feel like it's indicating to the rest of the world that America is revealing these things, right?
Mhm.
It feels like it has to do with it's giving the indications to other parts of the world that are still in more of a tyrannical cabal lockdown that hey,
Yeah.
we're things are coming out. People, we're talking about this. It's coming out on more and more more and more out in the open, which is
Mhm.
actually signaling to the rest of the globe, because you see how he's looking at that and also indicating the globe in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's almost like there needs to be, yeah, it's a bit of ripping the Band-Aid off is what I'm getting, and there
Mhm.
needs to be some really abrupt, like, shout it out, get it in your face, even over the next couple of months because of what astrological I'm getting. Like, there's something about this needs to really get amped up now,
Mm.
in order to catch a certain transitional turning point in about 8 or 9 weeks. I don't know really what that's about. Yeah, and then it lets them move forward with some other. So it opens up the opportunity to pivot and go in a new direction. So I almost feel like they've been prepping the masses for these kind of revelations. And now
Mhm.
over this next 8 or 9 weeks, it's just going to be constantly ripping the Band-Aid off.
Wow.
And then once that's cleared, they can focus on other things, is what I'm being
Mhm.
shown. Does that make sense according to the astrology?
It does make sense. Yes, because 8 or 9 weeks. What's 8 or 9 weeks from now? Is that August? I'm not
Yeah,
good at
that's
math. Sorry, you guys.
okay. So
That's
that
like
is like, let's see. So that would be, end of June, end of July. Yeah, like early August.
early August. So, oh, yeah. Let's see if I can bring up that chart one moment here. So, end of July, early August is when
Mm.
we have Saturn and Neptune in an almost exact conjunction in Aries. So we're not going to have that exact conjunction until February 2026. But take a look at this. Let me bring up my astrology program to show you guys. So, and I can't zoom in, sorry, you guys, but they'll both, Saturn and Neptune will be both retrograde at the same degree in the same sign, but not to the minute. This is end of July, beginning of August. So it's almost an exact conjunction, but not until February 2026, to where this is the total end of the matrix Saturn as we know it. Neptune is dissolving that with Uranus 0 degrees in Gemini, Uranus out of fall position in a way more powerful placement in trine to Neptune in Aquarius, sorry, Pluto in Aquarius, moving us into the future. Jupiter in Cancer. I mean, all these placements, these are very fresh new energies where I feel like even us in the woo community, and let me know what you think of Shala, I feel like we have no idea some of the stuff that's about to be coming out. I was feeling that really strongly earlier
Mhm,
today when I
mhm,
was researching into the Jupiter and Cancer transit. It's like there's information about to be revealed about our world, our history, spirituality, spiritual science that maybe nobody even knows.
mhm. Well, it's interesting. They're showing me what looks like 5, 6, 7. Five of Swords, 6, 1, 7 of Pentacles, 8. What looks like is this energy of catching the wave. And I don't
Mhm,
know that they have the exact, like, they know the elements that need to be present in order to go that, like, open things up as you're
mhm,
describing. And I'm getting that they're really trying to set it up so that those elements will have happened by early August to do exactly what you're describing. But it's
interesting.
not for certain yet that that's going to happen. It's going to
Mhm,
depend on how people respond. So they're watching closely. And if this cycle doesn't work, it's almost like they're showing me like surfers, and they're going, yeah, this is a big wave, and they're going to try to catch it. They're going to try to catch us on this big wave. If it doesn't, if there's not enough people like able to handle it yet, they're going to do another one. So it's not there. This isn't the last chance by any means, but it is a big wave that they're aiming to catch, is what I'm getting.
Mm, that is really, really interesting. Um, John Dizzle in the chat says, "We're all going on a summer holiday." Do you know that song from Cliff
Yeah.
Richard? I haven't that just made me laugh because I haven't heard that song in so long, and it's such a happy song, and that's another thing. I feel like even though there's these very intense changes and revelations, we can have fun through this, and it's actually really important for us to be having fun through this, and you kind of brought that up on your show on Saturday, your Psychic Tarot show, Ashala, where you said, "We are winning by living, thriving, laughing with all the awareness that we have." Do you remember that you said that on the show?
Totally. Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
thought
that's
that that was such a good point. That was
mhm.
like, yeah, we are meant to be enjoying ourselves, and we are so strong that we can be laughing and be joyful with all the crazy stuff that we know about what's been really going on.
And I think that is where people who are waking up are going to be like, "Did you know this? Did you know this?" And we're like, "Yeah, yeah, I know, I've known that for, years now." And it's how I like to provide that kind of perspective for being a longtime truther coming in, right? And going,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I've known this for years." And people are like, "Aren't you freaked out?" And I'm like, "No,
No.
actually, I am amazed that so many of you know it now." Right?
Yeah.
So it's like it starts to have the opposite effect at some point. You're like, "Oh, wow." You start to see the evolution and the up leveling. Um, so just as we were seeing, we just talked about earlier, where you see yourself in the matrix and go, "Oh no, I'm still locked in these ways, and I see it clearly
Mm,
now." Also, we can have those revelations on the other side where we're like, "Oh, actually, I just had a realization. We are getting lighter, even though things are getting stinkier," as I was saying in the
yes.
in the forecast, all that heat is heating up the swamp and it stinks, but it's always been there. It's
Yeah.
nothing new. It's there anyway. And when
Mhm.
we heat it up, guess what? It's going to transmute it. It's going to metabolize it. It's going to turn it into fertilizer. So,
Wow. I
yeah.
love that. Fertilizer, so cool. And I'm just feeling to shout out, there's a YouTube channel called Bedtime Stories. Have you ever heard of this YouTube channel, Ashala?
No.
Oh my god. So Jens and I watch this before bed almost every single night, and
Oh.
it's a YouTube channel of this guy with a British accent. He's got a very nice British accent to listen to, with very cool art where it's all paranormal, weird, woo, actual stories, real stories of
Mm.
mysteries, people's paranormal experiences, and I'm just feeling guided to share this because this is something that listening to these kind of things, channels, if it resonates with you, can help us to open ourselves even more because I feel like things are even weirder than they seem. Like there's even weirder stuff than clones, right? There's all kinds of weird cryptid creatures and magical creatures all over the place. That's a lot of this channel is like cryptids and creatures that are out there. There's more creatures than we're told. It's not just humans and animals. There's like other magical beings. So, anyways, this is something really cool or mind expanding, or maybe you want to share that with somebody who's maybe just opening up because it's in a
Mhm.
story kind of format, but it's
Mhm.
real. They're real stories and things. So, highly, highly recommend it.
So powerful. And like someone just said, Scorpio bedtime stories.
Yeah, when you're married to a Scorpio, it's either you wanna watch something paranormal or even, like, true crime, but sometimes the true crime every time I watch true crime before bed, it's too much, but
Yeah.
I'm a crazy Scorpio, so sometimes I do it anyways, but yeah,
It's
um,
interesting. What I watch is like archaeology and like
cool.
digging up ancient remains and stuff like that. It's like
That's
I'm
so
like,
funny.
oh, that's so amazing. That's all right under our feet.
Oh my god, that's very Gemini of you. The
Yeah,
information, going through
information. And they're
the
like, I gotta get a
history.
little bit more in before I go to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes bedtime stories, Jens is like totally creeped out. He's like, "Why do you want to listen to this stuff right before bed? Don't you get scared?" I'm like, "This is actually relaxing for me in a weird way." Oh my god. Digivine says, "Bring back scary campfire
Campfire
stories."
stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Laura says, "I've been listening to Sasquatch stories." Yeah, love listening. There's lots of Sasquatch stories on the bedtime stories YouTube for sure. So, yeah, how do you feel about the month of June, Ashala? We're at the beginning of the month. Should we maybe do a collective reading and then little middle readings, mini readings for each of the sign groups? Does that sound
Definitely.
cool?
Let's do that. Collective for the whole month. I mean, I have to say, even just noticing, like we're talking, oh yeah, we did this a week ago. Honestly, it feels so long ago.
I know,
Like
it's crazy.
these time, I wonder what a month is going to feel like. I wonder if it's going to feel like a year, the year of June 2025.
A year. Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see what our cards are telling us about it.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
Ooh, thank goodness.
Look at that. Wands, a lot of heat. So all that, what did you call it? The Aries. What is an Aries again?
Aries, Saturn and Aries.
Saturn and Aries. Yeah. Um, so for us, like I think we were seeing earlier, that for the sleepers, it's going to be a lot of ripping the band-aid off over these next few weeks or couple of months.
Mhm,
For
mhm.
us, it feels like it's going to just be elevating us. This, I get this feeling like an elevator with all of those wands, all that fire lifting us. And then we've got this character, he's up high, right? He's looking from a high vantage point, and so is this one.
Mm,
So there's something about, as things heat up and revelations are coming out into mainstream media, it's going to, if you can allow it to lift you as opposed to overwhelm you, like let it
mhm.
inspire you, let it feel like, okay, we don't know exactly how this is going to play out. We can't guarantee any result down the road as these things unfold, but it's a grand adventure, and we're kind of above it all is what I'm being shown.
Wow.
Like our community, if we can just let it pump us up and not freak us out,
Mhm.
we're rising. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, Digibeam, we're rising. I love that. And did we already pull in the show today the 2 of Wands?
I think so. Don't remember, but yes, we
Interesting.
did, because we were just talking about the globe in his hand.
Mhm,
Yeah. So that's another, it's repeated there. And again, that feeling of the world watching, but in this case, it's all over the world, people watching each other.
mm,
So a lot of big picture perspectives, a lot of sharing intel and information. And the other thing about the Eight of Wands on a more personal level is it's a lot of invitations, a lot of social opportunities. So it can be very fun, very playful. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we're heading into the summer season, and people are getting outdoors. They're being more physically active. They're being more social. All of that is woven in here with the Eight of
mhm.
Wands.
I love that. Cool. Bajorni says, "I love the Fool card. Go for it. Take the risks in life."
Definitely.
Yes, for sure. Awesome. So, yeah, for the month of June, for all of us astrologically, we're in Gemini season until June 20th. Then we've got the sun moving into Cancer and Jupiter moving into Cancer. Actually, next week, our next As Above, So Below, Jupiter will be in Cancer. I'm so excited for that. That's a very positive influence for the whole world. So, we'll talk about that more in depth next week. But we've got some it's interesting, lightning energy transits like Jupiter moving into Cancer, but at the same time some very intense things going on with Uranus going to Gemini soon, the Saturn Neptune conjunction as well. June overall I don't think is a heavy month energetically. It's a lot going on at the same time where I
Mhm.
really feel like it is important for us to be in the playfulness and the fun and spending time around, like-minded people with our friends, with our neighbors, people that lift us up. That's going to be very helpful during this month for sure. And we may be called upon, I feel like, with so much Gemini in the beginning and the middle of the month too, maybe have some conversations with people we weren't expecting to have conversations with, people ready to open up about certain subjects, right? I know I've said many times before, and we've probably talked about this before, Shala. I don't know how you operate with people that are a little bit more on the normie side, but I be myself. I say what I want. I don't go into a conflictual place. I'm not afraid of being myself, but I won't fully open the door into a really deep and dark rabbit hole unless somebody opens that door with me first. Does that make sense how I
Mhm.
describe that? So
Yeah.
I'll state my opinions, I'll say what I feel, but I won't go on, like, the deep tirade unless somebody goes,
Mhm.
"Meg, what do you think about that? I saw what you posted recently," or "Can we talk about that?" Then, okay, we'll go full in.
Mhm. Yeah, I like to when they start making, negative Trump comments or
Mhm.
whatever, I like to just throw back, like, just enough pushback for them to go, "Huh?" Like, "Wait a minute." Uh,
Right.
but not, like, just enough where it's like, "Oh, well, everything isn't as it seems always," or,
Mhm.
"Oh gosh, if we only went for politicians that didn't make mistakes, we'd be," like, I just like to kinda start the engine a little bit, and then if they're like, so either they just change the subject, which they usually do,
Yeah.
or they're like, "Well, yeah, that's true." And then you see, you can then throw out another question,
Mhm.
how confident are you in this choice? Or how
Right.
confident are you going forward with this angle? And have you noticed these issues there? And then you just get them talking. And a lot of times, I feel like that defensive stance is them trying to protect themselves and look politically correct. But if you dig it down a little bit, they
Yes.
often have a lot of questions themselves. And I
Mhm.
like to just get them asking their own questions or,
Yeah.
like just get them and leave them thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool. Lately, what I've been, enjoying doing is just let somebody if they're going anti-Trump, if they're going anti whatever, I just let them go on their rant, and I'm just kinda staring at them, and I don't say anything at all until after they've spoken. I create a pause, I create some silence. It's, like, very kinda creepy Scorpio of me, and I let them get a little bit tripped out by the fact that I am not feeding into it at all. Like, I'm not feeding into the, "Oh, fuck Trump," but, like, just, "Okay, I'm just observing you in a very neutral place," and then I allow for some silence for them to think, and then I say what I think. And then it's very interesting how, like you said, Ashala, most of the time it's just a programming. A lot of the
Mhm.
ways we act socially, it's like a programming, right? So people will say certain trendy things because they think, like kind of what you were alluding to, that's the right thing to do in conversation, or that's what's going to keep it balanced, or that's the polite
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm. Politically correct thing to say right now or
Politically
whatever,
correct thing.
right? Yeah,
Right.
Digibeen is saying silence is a superpower.
Yeah.
It is, and it can
It it is.
it speaks 1,000 words, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if you don't say
Like
anything,
I
they're
had
like,
that with
"Uh-oh."
yeah. I had that with someone very close to me earlier today who they're getting really frustrated about, like, they're totally open, they're not a normie whatsoever, but they're getting really frustrated by some of the things that's going on. And actually, this happened to me with 2 people recently, and I just let her speak, and then I allowed for the silence, and said, well, what if actually everything that's going on is completely supportive of humanity and there's things going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to? And then I just keep on going and she's like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, MJ says, yes, that trips them out, Meg, that pause. I do that too. It's fun to have fun with it and not take it so seriously,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm so excited too with Jupiter going into Cancer because that's gonna bring so much healing energy,
Mm.
Cancer, to our family relationships, our siblings, just our loved ones and our soul family. Because 'cause there's been a lot of tension. There's been a
Mhm.
lot of tension and, you know, we're
Well, and
fighting about yeah.
yeah, and I feel like to get people at least agreeing that we can have a lot of things taken from us, but let's not have our families taken from us.
Yes.
That's too big of a
Exactly,
sacrifice for something like politics, right?
exactly.
Like, and just get people agreeing on that. It's a good
Mhm.
starting point, I
For
think.
sure, yeah. Did we go through each of the sign groups and pull a
Sure.
card for the month of June
I
or
was already feeling it. I was starting to shuffle.
okay.
So
We'll
we
start
begin with the fire signs, is that right?
with the fire signs
With all this
are
fiery
Aries.
heat.
Yeah, it's getting fiery.
Mhm.
Aries, Leo, and Saggies.
I wonder, are they going to be homeopathically fiery?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see.
I'm going to pull three.
Okay.
So, uh, ooh,
Hmm.
interesting. Okay, well, it's an opportunity to move on something that is physical, like to bring something into proof in the pudding, like step something into the material realm for the
Mhm.
fire signs. And regardless of whether or not that makes waves, like feeling strong enough to make some kind of big move in the physical world that could make waves, but you're clear that you're ready to do it and you're kind of saying, if people don't like it, too bad. That's what I'm getting
Mhm.
for fire signs.
Wow. Love that. Cool, fire signs. There you go. Have a
Mhm.
magical month of June. And now we go to our earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn.
Mhm. Earth
MJ
sign.
says, you gals are on fire today. Love the banter. These times are epic. We will look back someday and smile. I
We
love that.
sure will.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
Earth.
Ooh.
Mm. Okay, so far, their theme here is about I'm going to go ahead and stir the pot or disturb the you know what, and I don't care if people don't like it. So we got
Mhm.
that for earth signs, we've got that a bit for fire signs. In this case, it could be about getting something off your chest. So at that point where you something is starting and you can either hide or just finish it. It's like
Yeah.
so for earth signs, it's probably good to just step into the ring and go, yeah, let's see this through. And you're going to be seen as a strong leader. So far, there's a little bit of confrontation indicated with both the fire signs and the earth signs around and aces. Did you notice that? An ace in each one. There was an ace
Mhm.
in the fire signs, there's an ace in the earth signs. And the ace in the fire signs was the physical realm. The ace in the earth signs is the energy realm. So
Wow.
stepping into the ring, to me, when I see these two together, it's like someone's throwing the gauntlet down, you're throwing the gauntlet down, you're stepping into the ring, kind of ready for a fight. I don't know if it's a fight or just to finish something that you've already started, and B, take your position as a leader. So it does, in both cases, right? There's a similarity as well, because the fire signs had the King of Cups here, who's very mature and very like able to hold a lot, take the high road. And this is the Hierophant, also leadership. So interesting.
Interesting. Thank you, Ashala. Excuse me, you guys. Okay, now we go to our air signs for June: Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius.
Mhm. Right. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Interesting. There's a theme. Have you noticed the theme that we end off in these high positions? So for fire, it was King of Cups. We ended off the mature, sort of wise elder. For the earth signs, it was the Hierophant, the leader, the teacher. And for the air signs, it's the healer. So the integration, stepping into, you're going to prioritize yourself this month, air signs. And this is really clear. Stop taking on everyone else's stuff. Stop carrying everyone else's burdens. You're going to need to put some things down and look after yourself and demonstrate the power of healing, starting with yourself first. So it's very much a, this is the sovereign card, sovereignty, self-care, leading by example, and really needing to put down some of the burdens that you carry for others. Air signs. Stop doing that.
Stop doing that.
Okay.
Thank you. And water signs: Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces.
Okay. Another little instigator.
They just keep popping up, that page of the soul.
Well, and there's been, we had the two aces, the air signs, they had the 10 of wands. So it's like, yeah, put some of that down, right? Time to stop carrying everybody else's stuff. But for the other three groups, there's this instigating energy. There was that, get the ace of wands, getting things thrown down the gauntlet, and the ace of pentacles dropping something and like letting the ripples go. And for water signs, it's also a little bit playfully instigating. Oh, I had a feeling about this. I was seeing the Empress in my mind when I was shuffling.
Wow.
So this is a lot about earth, nature, really immersing yourself in nature. So there is a bit of instigation energy, and there's also a lot of communion with the natural world. Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, love, relationships. This is even a lot. When you put the Two of Cups with the Empress, you often get conception and birth of children. So there's something, whether it's an actual physical conception for water signs in this time frame, or it's really coming into some kind of divine partnership or connection in yourself. This is beautiful. And, fertilization of your relationships. With that, I was calling it an instigator, but with these two cards beside it, it's way more than that. It's like, fertilizing or conceptualizing something and bringing it into birth. Lovely.
That is very lovely. Okay, water signs, we're little bit more fertile than we already are. So watch out. That's so funny because I was really feeling like with Jupiter going into Cancer, all the water signs are more fertile, whether that's literally through having children or with creativity, creative
Look at
projects.
that.
Yeah, so cool. Awesome. Okay, water signs, there we go. And, awesome. Thank you so much, Ashala. So much fun when we do that for each of the sign groups.
Totally, Meg.
And yeah, before we finish up today's show, we want to mention as well that Sunny and I, Sunny, who's going to be, you guys are going to see her on Beyond Mystic this week on a new weekly show series that we're going to be starting called Beyond Crystals. That'll be live tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Stay tuned for that. Sunny and I over at the Scorpion Shop, we have new astrological crystal kits available for each of the 12 signs. We're going to talk about more in depth what this is all about in tomorrow's Beyond Crystal show. And for those of you in Europe or international outside of North America, the shipping has been fixed. So there was a little bit of an issue with the shipping option on the website yesterday. That has been shipped. And it's all about awakening the magic of your sign with crystal healing. And you can use code Astro Crystal for 10% off on the Scorpion Shop. Do you like to work with crystals, Ashala?
I love working with crystals, Meg. Yeah,
Yeah, me
I
too.
really, really do. And yeah, I go through phases where I'm really intrigued. I'll show you something. I got
Yes.
myself a gift when I was for my birthday, and this is a beautiful jade bracelet.
Wow.
And I haven't worked with jade yet, but it's been calling me this year, and I was really feeling it on my left side, which is the feminine, around
Mhm.
healing of the heart and courage and overall cleansing, protection, all the good things. So that's my new favorite crystal that I'm forming a connection
Yay.
with, and I love it.
Awesome. That is so cool. One of my favorite, it's not necessarily a crystal, but it is a type of mineral, is moldavite. Have you
Yeah.
ever worked with moldavite before?
Yes.
Oh my God. Rapid transformation. Do you
Mhm,
notice that when you
mhm,
work with moldavite? It's like, okay,
mhm.
now everything's going to boom, 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 boom. I put it on the other day. I hadn't worn, Sunny made me a moldavite necklace. And I put it on the other day and it was like, wow, everybody close to me in my life had a rapid transformation, things coming up for me very fast. So it's so cool working with the crystals and the gems and minerals, how they really are great allies for us. And
Mhm.
really, like, I like to think of them as physical elemental beings, right? They really are.
They definitely are, and it is
Mhm.
like having a relationship. You know, get to know them, you get to know how they
Yep.
work with you. I don't think they work the same with everybody. I think it's just
Right.
like friendship, you know? You got certain connections and it's like, wow, you could do all of these really amazing things together. And then there's other stones where I'm just like, "No, I don't know. I don't feel called for some reason."
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, clam before or sea lamb. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your username. Yes, jade is great for healing. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
That is a
Mhm.
great one. So, yeah, you're going to be doing Intuition Fridays with Penny.
Yeah, we haven't
This
been on for,
Mhm.
such a long time between the 2 of us and our schedules, so I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to this.
yeah.
We're
So
gonna have
that'll be
some
great.
great
And then
chats.
you'll have your next Psychic Tarot show on Saturday as well. And
Mhm,
tomorrow on the Beyond Mystic channels, you guys, we've got Daily Astro Show, 12:30 p.m., Expanding Consciousness with Jens, the Beyond Crystals at 4 p.m. It's going to be a jam-packed day. And of course, the Beyond the News on the Insider Access Pass at 8 p.m. So, Ashala, thank you for another magical show and time together. You guys can find Ashala's Psychic Tarot readings over at the link below, consultations.beyondmystic.net. And we will see you guys all next week with Jupiter having just ingressed into Cancer. Very, very exciting. Love you guys. Au revoir.